Hello my dear friends, welcome to Toppscholars. Today we'll be discussing about corrosion and rancidity. Now friends, generally you will observe that when you keep iron particles exposed in the atmosphere for a longer duration of time, you will observe that there is some layer which is deposited on their surface, right? And that is what is called as corrosion. But how does this corrosion take place? Now friends, what happens is there are gases that are present in the air, right? Now these gases which are present in the air, they react with the metals in the presence of moisture, resulting in the formation of metal oxides. So friends, we said yes, gases which are present in the air in the presence of moisture, they react with metals which result in the formation of metal oxide compounds. And these metal oxide compounds are the ones which actually form a layer on the metal article. So what happens is these metal oxide compounds which are formed, they are quite brittle, right? And thereby they damage the metal article, right? That is, they deteriorate the metal article, right? And this process is called as corrosion. So friends, due to corrosion, what happens is the metal article, it gets damaged, it gets deteriorated, right? So it is very much important that we find certain ways by which we can actually prevent corrosion, right? Because all the metal articles, right, they are reactive and thereby they react with the gases present in the air, resulting in the formation of metal oxide compounds. Now let's discuss about the rusting of iron. Now friends, we make use of iron particles, right, on a very large scale in our daily life. Now what happens is when you keep this iron particle exposed to the atmosphere for a longer duration of time, you will observe that there is a reddish brown layer which is formed on its surface, and this reddish brown coating is called as rust, which is nothing but hydrated iron oxide. So what actually happens over here? Now friends, if we talk about iron, iron is highly reactive, right? So this iron, it reacts with oxygen which is present in the air as well as moisture, resulting in the formation of rust. And what is rust? Rust is a reddish brown coating which is formed on the metal article, and this rust is nothing but hydrated iron oxide, that is hydrated ferric oxide. Over here you can easily see the reaction. Iron reacting with oxygen and moisture, resulting in the formation of hydrated iron oxide, that is ferric oxide. Over here, the valency of iron is 3 and so it becomes ferric oxide. Here you can see we have XH2O. XH2O, here X means the number of water molecules. The number of water molecules may vary, right? So friends, rusting of iron simply means that when iron comes in contact with oxygen and moisture, it develops a reddish brown coating on its surface, which is called as rust, right? So now friends, if I talk about this rusting process, rusting of iron is not a very simple type of a chemical reaction. This rusting of iron is actually a electrochemical reaction, and so we say that rusting of iron is an electrochemical phenomenon. Now what actually happens in rusting of iron? Let's write down the cell reaction. So let's see what happens at the anode. At the anode, what happens is the iron atoms, they lose electrons, and on losing electrons, they get converted into cations, that is Fe2 plus ions, as you can see over here. So here there is loss of electrons, and we know that loss of electrons means oxidation, right? Which means that at the anode, iron gets oxidized into Fe2 plus, right? So Fe is oxidized to Fe2 plus at the anode. Oxidation takes place at the anode. And what about cathode? What happens at cathode? So here you can see at the cathode, what happens is oxygen, it gets reduced to water. That is, there is acceptance of electrons. There is gain of 4 electrons, you can see over here, right? And we know that gaining of electrons or addition of electrons means reduction, right? So at the cathode, reduction takes place. Oxygen gets reduced to water. Okay. So now friends, what happens over here is these Fe2 plus ions, they further react with water and get oxidized into Fe3 plus ions. And these Fe3 plus ions thereby react with the water molecules, resulting in the formation of hydrated ferric oxide, as you can see over here. This hydrated ferric oxide has a reddish brown color, and thereby you can see a reddish brown coating on the surface of the iron particle, which is called as rust, right? So what is rust? Rust is nothing but hydrated ferric oxide. So friends, what happens at the anode? At the anode, Fe gets oxidized to Fe2 plus, and at the cathode, oxygen gets reduced to water. So what happens is, these Fe2 plus ions which are formed at the anode, they react with water and get oxidized into Fe3 plus ions, right? And these Fe3 plus ions then combine with water molecules, resulting in the formation of hydrated ferric oxide, which has a reddish brown color. And this hydrated ferric oxide is called as rust. To learn more about this topic, download Toppscholars app.